everybody. This is Eric McLeod.
I'm Chris Holden.
And you're watching LowBlowRadio. This is Thursday, March the
18th.
18th, yes. And we were just celebrated the St. Patrick's Day AEW last night with their St. Patrick's Day Smash. And how about we do a bit of a blow-by-blow rundown of the show? What do you think, Chris?
Let's do it.
Sounds good. All right. Well, the night kicked off with Cody Rhodes versus Pentagon Jr., or Penta L0M as he is now called, as his name is constantly being flopped around as rights and those kind of things change. But yes, Penta L0M and Cody Rhodes furthering their feud from the Face of the Revolution ladder match, their interaction last week, and then leading to this matchup. What did you make of this?
Good match.
Yeah.
Really nice hot opener to start the show, not in a tag, right?
For sure.
But a similar style of match to
Very
what we're used to seeing in that fast pace, get you into the show.
Really entertaining. The charisma coming off Penta was fantastic in this.
Oh, yeah.
I loved his interaction with the crowd, throwing on the hats and stuff like that, and really getting into things there. The match, sprawled in and out of the ring. It told some interesting stories, too, as he was focusing on the arm, but not focusing on winning the match, and showed that Cody was far more focused in that sense, being able to catch him with the roll-up there in the end.
The surprise roll-up.
Yes.
Best finish in professional wrestling.
They don't do a ton of them in AEW too, which is nice to see. So
Yeah.
it was a good, a win for Cody. We were maybe predicting more that this could potentially lead to an angle of Cody maybe taking less time in AEW right now, but so far not the case. He's still picking up wins, but
It looks like this is leading for Penta against the Nightmare Family. Eventually with QT Marshall, perhaps?
If anything, we could at least reference that and maybe touch on the match we didn't get to talk about last week with Ethan Page when he took on Nightmare Family member Shoddy Lee Johnson.
No, that was NBA highlights.
Oh, right. That was what was playing in the background. That was maybe why we ended up forgetting that one. But I want to at least play some homage to the Canadian there, getting his first match on TV. And that was sort of another inclination into this sort of QT Marshall not getting along with the Nightmare Family. And I didn't catch it in Shoddy's speech when he was when he'd won that match with Cody, and then when he was thanking his coaches. Apparently he left QT out of that speech, and people are saying that was kind of the linchpin that sort of started this QT sort of turn.
Went so unnoticed by the fans that we don't know the reason for the...
Yeah, I'm going to say I was unaware of that. I'm going to say maybe they start paying some reference to that on screen. We'll have to see how that plays out. An interesting maybe way to start this sort of turn for QT, but... and that maybe it brought up another thought to me as well. I thought it was interesting because, again, on TV we were presented the QT Marshall with Dustin Rhodes presentation. They were baby faces, the bunkhouse match, and all that kind of stuff. But specifically on things like Sammy Guevara's vlog, QT plays a heel. Now, do you think that was a something he wanted to do specifically to test the waters? To be like, well, what would I be like as a heel?
It could be.
You like the idea of them taking opportunities on those vlogs and stuff to try different things as characters?
I don't mind it. I mean, I love what Frankie Kazarian was doing on Being the Elite.
Yeah.
So I think you can do. Sure, you could do it as a practice run or a dry run and see. I also have no problem with them doing different characters on the different vlog shows because they're different shows. It's just supposed to be some creative, fun outlet for them. And
yeah, for sure. I think it's nice to see them. Being able to. But I do like when they try something creative on there and maybe see something in it and they can kind of incorporate it into their characters.
And we know there's a certain
There's
a certain amount of foreshadowing they've done in Being the Elite before for things that will come eventually on Dynamite.
Yeah, very true.
So it could well be that they've done some of that with this, or it could be completely independent of, right?
Totally, yeah. So interesting to see how this plays out, but yeah, fun opener regardless. What was our next matchup? Was it Jade?
I don't know.
On Dynamite?
I thought you had the. I'm sorry. I thought you had the card up.
I do have the card up here. I'm pretty
didn't
sure
pull it
that's
up.
what it is. I thought you had it beside you there too, but just in case. I do believe it was Jade Cargill though next in action. I couldn't remember if there was. Did we get the backstage segment with the Bucks though before this?
There was a bit with the Bucks and
Don
Callis.
Yeah.
There was also a bit with the soon-to-be named Pinnacle group where they were showing in the jet flying and limousine riding.
Right, yes, getting ready to
might have been in this
show up
slot.
at the arena. That might have been just before this. And then, a little thing with the Young Bucks talking with Don Callis, certainly getting more of a heelish Don Callis, saying that, yes, he had kind of orchestrated the the kick thing, and he was faking it.
They didn't beat him up after all. He
Yes,
brought him a new T-shirt.
Yes, another reference to the leg slap once again here on the AEW TV. What'd you make of that one?
I laughed because I thought the worst offender of leg slap on Monday night was Drew. His final Claymore on Lashley at the very end of the show. It was pretty bad. So
Well, I mean, geez, it's a whole different story, right? I mean, Shawn Michaels is a coach in NXT where they teach all those guys, and he made his whole career off leg slaps. So, I mean, that's a very fine line to be walking. But, yes, another reference to what's going on in the world of wrestling. But, yes, as far as matches go, we did have Jade Cargill in action next doing a singles matchup. She took on Danny Jordan, who I've seen, at least on Dark,
I think she's been squished on Dynamite before, too.
I think quite possibly. Yeah, she's been around for a bit.
Didn't she fight Abaddon, actually, on Dynamite?
She could have.
I know I've seen her before, so
she's got her burn book, kind of that bully gimmick kind of thing. But yeah, I kind of like how the enhancer can kind of play whatever role they need for whoever they're putting over on the Dynamite shows specifically. So yeah, she played a great role for just getting Jade's moveset over here, and she looks like $1 million, I think.
Yep. Punch, flex, German suplex, wheelbarrow slam thing, end. Done. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
she looks great, right? So
yeah, I can see she looks like $1 million.
She'll be overexposed if she gets into long, drawn out matches. So this is fine for right now for what they're doing with Jade and where we want to put her.
A few more of these, and if it leads to the Red Velvet match down the road, then I'm all for that. So I think we definitely see some more fun stuff out of the two of them. So we had mentioned the MJF earlier with his new crew of people from last week, but we did get them in the ring kind of explaining the situation and everything that was going on with them and the reveal of their new name.
Great promo by Tully Blanchard, who suggested this is the pinnacle of the wrestling world right here, and then MJF, dubbed them so shortly thereafter. They are pinnacle.
Yes, they are the pinnacle.
Not pineapple, not pickle, pinnacle.
Pinnacle, not the... Yes, the precipice. I was struggling with trying to remember it this morning, to be honest, before we came in. It's clicking with me the more I say it, but it wasn't on the night. I kept having to really struggle to remember what it was until their next segment came up, and they're like, oh, right, yes, the pinnacle. Okay. I think eventually it'll kind of settle. It wasn't the biggest sort of hot name that jumped right out of the gate, but it certainly describes the group, and I think the promo itself made up for any that he really got putting the team over. Spears and Wardlow and FTR here. It should be a really interesting, devastating group here from the Pinnacle.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to go forward here with the. If Wardlow ends up getting positioned as just the insurance policy for everybody else, which is where I kind of feel he should still be, as opposed to getting into singles matches.
Yeah,
I'd rather see just MJF and Spears in the singles division, FTR in the tag division, and a great big monster always at ringside.
Yeah, and anytime anyone needs the muscle, he's always there, right?
Yeah.
Always that great insurance policy. No, I think they can, now just start establishing them in those specific roles is going to be the next step for the team, but I'm looking forward to what happens next with them. I think we return to the ring for a 10-man tag match as the Bear Country teamed with Jurassic Express to take on Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the Butcher and the Blade.
Decent match. Oh, hey, look, Marco Stunt just flew by our window from the toss. That's crazy.
That was awesome when Bear Country tossed and just murdered Marco at the beginning of this match. Okay, slight tangent here. Speaking of Bear Country, you have your laptop there in front of you. Go to Google Bear Country, or even Bear Country masks. I, for the life of me, am trying to figure out what their entrance masks are, and I can't. I think I kind of know what it is, but I'm just so curious what your take is on it, because they're really strange.
First of all, I have to put AEW at the beginning, because that's a whole lot of weird masks that pop up on this thing.
Fair enough. Yeah, you might want to put wrestling in there somewhere. I'll put the picture up for the video viewers watching this, see if they can determine it as well. I'm just curious to get the stumbled look on your face here. Because
there it is. There's the look you're looking for. What are those?
I think I figured it out today.
A fiendish?
Okay, look close. I'm going to say I've been staring at these for weeks and trying to figure this out because they've been on Dark. Now, I believe it's supposed to be a bear trap around their head. I think.
Yes.
Maybe.
Quite
that's the closest
possibly,
I could
but
get.
they're not. Their faces aren't bears.
All stretched out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not bears.
So weird. They're so strange.
They're very strange Slipknot-esque masks.
Yes, I mean, yeah, like imposing. Like certainly have a grimacing kind of look.
Yeah.
It doesn't reminisce of Bear at all.
No, I don't think it doesn't make me think Bear or Country.
Yes, it's very, very strange, very odd. We don't see them with them all the time, but they've had promo shots with them on. They've had them come out with them sometimes, but not all the time. But they're just, something I couldn't quite grasp my head around. I had to at least bounce this off your head too.
I think you're right about the bear trap theory, that's what they're supposed to be.
But why do they feel like stretched out? Shouldn't they be squished? Like, that's where I'm confused too, because then they feel like they're a stretched face that's inside a bear trap. But that's reverse. It should be a squished up bear face. I don't know. Regardless,
I'm staring at it too long now.
Fair enough. Moving back onto the matchup. Decent 10-man, though, from everybody. Like I said, the big spot from Marco was great. Getting some stuff on the other side. And certainly getting over this more Matt Hardy trying to get these hired guns.
Yeah, I mean, that was all it was, right? This was I think, established Bear Country a little bit in a higher echelon than they've been seen as like just the dark guys.
For sure.
So just put them into something where they get some attention on them. Same with the Hardy crew, and get some attention on the fact that he's building this little squadron, and here they are in a match and they win, and Hardy steals the limelight at the end again.
Yeah.
If I've got any complaint about this, it's just I feel like it's time to get Jungle Boy on a bit of a singles push on his own and start seeing him not necessarily breaking away from Luchasaurus and Marco, but not consistently being in these trios things where there aren't yet 6-man belts.
That's what I was
He's
going
got
to
no
say.
gold to chase. He's not really doing much. I want to see.
If they're not going the 6-man direction yet for those tag titles, bringing that kind of thing in, I could totally agree that singles push for Jungle Boy would certainly help the momentum he's already kind of built for himself.
Plus, we get to hear that song more.
Exactly.
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right.
So good. All right. Well, anyways, Matt Hardy getting the win there for his team, though, establishing the heels in this matchup. And we'll see who he takes on going forward. I think we had some backstage stuff. Maybe was this? I think we might have heard from Christian Cage.
Christian Cage, the other Cage brother.
The other Cage.
The smaller brother.
In a short, it wasn't a very long segment, a short little sweet interview there with Dasha Gonzalez, I believe, and she just, he referencing that, we have workhorses in this business and that kind of stuff, and that he is not only just a workhorse, he wants to be the workhorse here in AEW, and kind of where he wants to establish himself, mentioning Kenny as well after interrupting his time last week and saying that, certainly unfinished business, as to say, with Kenny down the road.
Yep. I had no problem with this. I don't understand. I've seen some backlash online of people not liking this idea of the hardest working man in wrestling gimmick. As if, like, what does that mean? You put in overtime and unpaid and you bring pack an extra lunch? Like, as if the phrase hardest working man in any particular sport hasn't been used in the past. Like, every sport has had acknowledged hardest working guys in a team, in a locker room, and whatever. So I don't find this odd or out of place at all as far as a gimmick.
No, for sure. I think maybe people just need to see the in-ring part of it, maybe to help get that over. But it makes sense to me. How many years was
Barry Sanders the hardest working player in the NFL because of the way he portrayed himself on the field? Cal Ripken, it was the MVP and the hardest working man in baseball, just because he came out every day and played baseball. So it's not like it's a foreign aspect. I'm really confused by the people getting down on that side of his character.
No, I can understand that too. It does seem a little odd to specifically attack that. I think it works for
as
Christian
if it doesn't
from
exist.
the past. It wasn't something you'd never heard of or foreign before. It's absolutely a trope we've seen in other sports as well as wrestling.
For sure.
Moving on, though, interview-wise, Tony Schiavone invited his buddy Sting and Darby Allin. It's Sting! Coming out to have another interview with Tony Schiavone here. Darby Allin taking the more pedestal center stage here, so to say, to kind of take the mic and say, hey, I've had this title since December. I've only defended it 3 times. That's a shame. Cody was defending this title every week, and, I want to be... defending this title as much as I can as well. And, I also want to be establishing it as well as the greatest TNT champion ever. And, getting a great Brody chant from the crowd, which was fantastic, challenging the Dark Order to a open challenge, basically. Any member from them that was willing to step up and think that they could bring the title back to the Dark Order, more than willing to step up to the plate there. But then this was interrupted by Lance Archer, who was just looking for more time.
Yes.
Time. Can't get enough time for Lance Archer.
I'm enjoying Lance still, and I mean, I feel like we've had enough weeks in a row of Tony Schiavone and Sting and Darby Allin.
Right.
I get it. At the very least, it is it's managed to play a role in the plot device every week. It hasn't been for absolutely, literally nothing.
Yeah.
But it feels like this is every week. We're going to have this as a layout to the next thing. Come on now.
Yeah.
Right. And this was, again, it was a little bit the same as last week's. So I like Darby establishing the fact that he wants to be a fighting champion. I think that was good for him, for the belt. I think that's going to be great going forwards in it. And I do like that Lance keeps around these kind of top spots and keeps around relevancy and
for sure, and certainly has this reasons for interrupting and not getting his time and those kind of things, where they're specifically always giving it to Sting and Darby, right? So would make sense in that precedence.
Hand in hand with that is at a certain point. Well, you asked last week, you came out talking about the time you wanted and you're just going to take it.
Yeah.
So this week was time for action, and you should just came out and done the stuff and made it your time instead of just talking about it again.
For sure.
My feeling, anyway.
Yeah, and maybe they just didn't want this to, again, feel like too much of the same by keeping the Lance thing happening and then going to Team Taz. It didn't feel like just a rinse and repeat, but we did, again, get Team Taz coming out, and again, I did feel that too. You're like, okay, here's Team Taz again. What do they got to say? But something a little different this time.
Mixed it up a bit. We've got Brian Cage acknowledging, different than what Ricky says, Sting. I do think you are the icon. I get it.
Yeah, and I'm tired of Taz talking for me every time we come out here. I can speak for myself. Really, owned himself on the mic there. Owned up to everything from the street fight and everything with Sting and whichever, and really saying, you earned my respect in that street fight with everything you did in that Sting, and really kind of separating himself from the Team Taz guys, especially in this moment.
Just funny because we talked before the radio show yesterday. I had the spoilers. I knew that this had happened.
Right.
So when you were mentioning feeling there was some division there and starting, and it looks like this is interesting with where Cage is going, I'm like,
I already
wait
know.
till tonight, buddy. Tonight, take a step forward. You're not imagining it. That is where they're going. So.
Well, and it's good that this didn't just come out of absolutely
exactly.
nowhere. They did have
groundwork was laid.
Taste of it on Dark. They won their match, but there was some tension between him and Ricky. Taz very much animate that there was no tension. Things are fine between the people in Team Taz. Don't worry about it. And that's always tends to be the writing on the wall. That maybe there is something actually going on here. We were discussing a bit of that, and interesting that it ended up playing out here on the air. Curious to see what Brian Cage does as a singles guy.
I think that'll be fantastic. I mean, I'm not ready to see him turn face and turn on Team Taz yet, but at the same time, I have nothing against seeing him and Ricky Starks having a series of matches, or him and Hobbs having a series of matches. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, especially him and Hobbs. I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. And Ricky, both those.
Two totally different styles of matches, but I think Cage can work either. And I think against those two guys, Hobbs in a power versus power Hoss match, that would be great. And I want to see more of Ricky Starks. I think that he's someone that I just want to see more. I think his character's great. He talks like $1 million.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. All for
Start
more
seeing
Ricky.
him in there more.
Yeah, definitely would like to see some of that. All right, return to action. We had, instead of the women in this sort of death spot of the show, which is always the 9:30 slot, it was Rey Fenix and Angelico, this match straight off of Lucha Underground. If anyone had watched those shows, both these guys coming from that Lucha world as well as AAA and things like that. But what did you make of this singles matchup?
As you said, it was in the death spot.
Yeah.
You're kind of, the show's getting towards an end, build up for the main event, and I guess we'll watch this one first quickly.
Yeah,
it was fine.
Very fast-paced, entertaining, which is what it needed in that,
Phoenix is great.
moment.
I like Phoenix, and I like Angelico as well. I think he's got a lot of talent. They're both. He's a good young kid who's going to get better. Yeah,
a ton to offer. I think they just were stuck in a hard slot in the show where you just this main event had so much sort of built up around it. We're really waiting in anticipation for it to happen. So these guys were sort of stuck in a bit of a slot.
Did we miss the other tag match?
We did. I will definitely jump back to that. I don't know why it was not on my list here. I don't know who makes these lists sometimes, but anyways, yes, it was huge because it did feature our former world champion. John Moxley did team with Eddie Kingston as they took on the Good Brothers. They had a little interview with them, or a video package with him and Kingston leading into this, and then quite a matchup, pretty heavy hitting right off the bat.
Yeah, I love the pre-match promo to this too. That
Yeah.
was fantastic. Kingston is just putting himself over like.
Oh yeah,
else.
these two together is just great. Like I like them together as opponents before, like last year, and then now as drinking buddy teammates, it's even more fun. So he's the sort of perfect counterbalance to Moxley. Yeah, I really
make-
enjoyed the two of them together.
Making fun of the worst thing you guys did to me last year was wasn't even the beating up; it was taking my money for talking Shopomania.
Yeah, I
That
loved
was
that.
awesome.
Loved that reference. Great little plug for Talking Shop Mania, the worst wrestling show in the world. Still my favorite, but yes, awesome plug there for that from Moxley. Really enjoyed this, and yeah, decent matchup. I was curious.
The match was good.
Yeah, I was curious what they were going to do, like to give the faces their kind of win back at this point, or were the things going to kind of keep fueling and moving forward? You definitely could have done that and have the Good Brothers go over, but Moxley's been beat down enough lately. I think he's fine to get a roll-up win here. I was okay with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I thought it was a really good match. Established the Good Brothers in their roles, kept Moxley and Kingston in theirs. Kingston just keeps looking better and better.
Yeah.
Somebody else in another wrestling video that I watch on YouTube, is talking about how impressive it is that Eddie Kingston has been turned into this sympathetic figure. A month departed from threatening to kill brothers and have them kill each other and trying to break up families and ruin people's lives. And now I love him, and for the reasons I'm supposed to, that they want me to. So he's such a phenomenal. He makes it feel real. He makes everything feel real.
Yeah. No, the fact that he wears his heart on his sleeve just makes you so just you easily can get attached to his character and just so drawn into what he's presenting to you. So all for this great matchup, and we'll see what's down the road for Moxley and Kingston. They got beat up by. It was quite a long beatdown afterwards too, right? Where they did the Pillmanizing on Kingston's leg, and then they were beating up Moxley, and then the Young Bucks came out for the save on Moxley, which was a surprise and sort of another break in the Elite. And the sort of final, like if you're looking at the bigger picture of when All Elite started, it was like your Elite crew was Cody, Kenny, the Bucks, Hangman. And
as far as the Elite went.
As far as the elite, and then your sort of peripherals, and literally none of those people are together anymore. It's kind of crazy to think that this was the sort of final break here between the Bucks and Kenny. But quite the establishment of that. Story-wise, though, they're kind of fed up with his shenanigans, and the Good Brothers kind of just doing whatever they want. And that'll be a good match. I can't wait for Good Brothers and Young Bucks. You know it's coming.
So do the Good Brothers win the AEW tag team titles to replace the tag belts that Impact have lost to New Japan?
Yeah, maybe that's the argument they make when they
end up with
aren't
tag
able
titles.
to get them back or something.
Each federation has tag belts. They're just not the ones from their company.
That would be crazy. Very strange and interesting way of going about it. I don't know what the future holds necessarily, but
because I could see the Good Brothers going over the Bucks in that title match.
I could totally see them trying to just so you're really establishing Kenny and his crew, right? As
exactly.
These, real dominant, nasty heels.
Interesting
Nonetheless.
We hit the fantastic main event from last night's show, which is being widely acclaimed across the wrestling world today.
Absolutely.
Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, in a Falls Count Anywhere, unsanctioned, lights-out match.
Yes. And well deserved of all the praise it is getting, because this match certainly delivered. This is the first time the females were main eventing for the show. By far their biggest angle they've been pushing outside of Britt and Swole from last year, I'd say, for longevity of a women's
and
feud.
Thunder and Sheeta.
Yeah.
Was the only other one that really had
this
legs.
has certainly had some 5 to 6 month or 6 weeks, I'd say, kind of cling to it. So yeah, certainly the build has been there, and these two were the perfect two females to put into that first main event. I think it had the best kind of story behind it. They didn't, sure, in hindsight, if the title was in this too, it would have felt maybe even more important, but I think these two did enough to at least make the division feel important, and then you can get to the other stuff later.
Yeah, their beef with each other didn't need the belt involved as such, because it sparked off from which one of us should be getting the fighter, right? So
and if the intention was always to get to this lights out, no sanctions,
which apparently
crazy
it was,
war, and that was always the plan, then they knew it was going to be, to get both of them over was going to be this huge physical matchup. And like I say, I was mentioned some of this to you off the air, the looks that you were getting from Britt in this, it just reminded you of some of those guys that when they would just be taking damage you weren't expecting, or doing more gruesome things that you weren't expecting, kind of like Triple H and Mankind in the Royal Rumble matchup, or stuff that Edge would do when he was getting into more of his grimier, more state kind of stuff like that, more grittier, things from Edge. But yeah, this was just a really remarkable side to see from Britt Baker. She just did a phenomenal job in this match. Thunder Rosa too, they're great working partners. I was surprised by so much, like the blood that Britt got was just nasty as hell.
Yeah.
She was just looking like a gruesome Crimson Mask. Super hard hitting Thunder Rosa with her drop kicks and the Death Valley Driver on the ladder, the final Thunder Rosa Driver through the table, just nasty spots all around. The powerbomb onto the thumbtacks. There were thumbtacks, people.
The thumbtacks.
This match was nuts. And
Yeah, it was
even
great.
Reba, I think, did her part to help, tell the story of this match, too, getting involved at just the right moments.
Smacked her with the crutch,
Yeah.
gave up the crutch so
And
that Thunder could use it.
she
Going
got-
through the table.
Yeah, exactly. Went through the table. She played the perfect extra portion into this match. And, yeah, really great for her to really establish her as a key portion of Britt's, act right now.
If I have one complaint at all, and I have to and everything, it would just be, despite the fact that I can come away from this fully feeling like there were no winner or loser from it, maybe more because of that, Britt should have got the win. Britt should have got the win. I want, she's your focal point for your division going forward for the next 5 years, right?
I do.
She's the one.
Yeah.
So
I do get that you do have the argument that because it's unsanctioned, that there technically isn't a winner, so she didn't technically lose, and she could use that momentum.
But then that's
argument going
that
forward.
would be my argument for why it wouldn't have hurt Thunder twice as much to
Yeah.
let Britt finally get a win for the Doctor. We don't see her win enough.
No, for sure. I'm not sure what the sort of backstage choices are made in that to determine who is winning and who's losing here, because again, Thunder Rosa's not fully under contract.
Exactly,
and
and there could well be part of that playing into that.
if it's just sort of a nice sort of like a cadence thing or whatever. Or
Come on, Billy, we'll keep giving her wins. Let us keep her.
Yeah,
Come on.
We want to pay her a ton of money. Just let us have her, please. Hopefully they can definitely get her over here into AEW as a permanent stable, because they could certainly start rebuilding, not rebuilding, but kind of growing the women's division around these two coming off this match.
Oh, for sure.
They have to certainly take this momentum and find something to roll with it moving forward. For the other girls.
Agreed.
Well, I think that'll wrap things up for the AEW St. Patrick's Day Smash episode of our Low Blow Radio.